Hannah almost didn't open the letter. It was misplaced among things she no longer needed, old receipts, documents she never revisited. At first, she moved it aside without thinking. No return address, just her name, written in handwriting she recognized immediately, before she allowed herself to admit it. Hannah held the envelope a second longer than necessary, then put it down, as if leaving it unopened could keep something from shifting. There had been a time when Hannah didn't question where she belonged. Her life felt structured, predictable in a way that made things easier to hold. And within that structure, there was her father, Robert. He was never expressive. He didn't say much, didn't explain himself, didn't apologize in ways that sounded complete. But he was consistent. He showed care in practical forms, fixing things before they broke completely, remembering details he never mentioned out loud, standing nearby without interrupting. Hannah learned early that this was his language, and for a long time, it worked, until it didn't. The distance didn't arrive all at once. It formed slowly. Calls became shorter, then less frequent, then easier to ignore. There had been a conversation, not loud, not explosive, but precise. Words chosen carefully. Silences held just long enough to become something else. Neither of them said anything that could be taken back, but something shifted anyway. And after that, nothing. Time passed, not marked by events, just by absence. The letter remained on the table the entire afternoon. Hannah moved around it. She made coffee, sat down, checked her phone, stood up again. Each time, her attention returned to it, not urgently, but consistently. There was something about its presence. It didn't demand anything, didn't insist, but it interrupted the quiet she had grown used to. Hannah told herself she could leave it, ignore it. Nothing required her to open it. Nothing forced her to return to something that had already settled into distance. But ignoring it wasn't neutral. It was a choice, and she felt that. By evening, the light in the room softened. Shadows stretched across the table. The envelope remained exactly where she had left it. Hannah sat down, reached for it, turned it over in her hands. The paper felt slightly worn, as if it had been carried longer than necessary before being sent. She traced the edge with her finger, paused, then opened it. The letter inside was simple. No formality, no attempt to make it structured or complete. Just handwriting. Careful. Measured. Recognizable in a way that didn't fade. It didn't begin with an apology. Didn't try to explain the past. Instead, it moved through small things, specific memories, unnecessary details, things Hannah had forgotten she ever shared. A drawing she made as a child that he had kept. The way she used to hum quietly when she was nervous. How she left lights on in empty rooms. There was no interpretation, no explanation of why those things mattered. Just their presence, placed one after another, as if he was reconstructing something quietly, not asking her to respond, not asking her to forgive, just showing that he remembered. Hannah read slowly, then stopped, then continued. Her pace changed without her noticing. At the end, there was one line. Short, uncomplicated. I didn't know how to reach you anymore. Nothing followed it. No request, no expectation. Just that. Hannah folded the letter, not the way it had been originally, more carefully, more intentionally. She placed it back on the table, then stayed there, not thinking in full sentences, not analyzing, just noticing. The shift wasn't immediate. It didn't feel like resolution, but something had moved, slightly, enough to change the way the silence felt. The next morning, the letter was still there. Hannah didn't put it away, didn't hide it in a drawer. She let it remain visible. She read it again, slower this time, noticing what wasn't there. No defense, no attempt to justify distance, no effort to rewrite the past, just recognition. Hannah opened her phone, scrolled through contacts, stopped. His name was still there. She had never deleted it, even after everything. Her thumb hovered over the screen, then moved away. She locked the phone. Later that day, she placed the letter in her bag. Not because she needed it, but because leaving it behind felt wrong, as if it belonged with her now. That evening, Hannah sat by the window. The letter unfolded in her hands again. Outside, the street moved as it always did. Nothing changed, but something felt different. She read the last line once more. I didn't know how to reach you anymore. Hannah picked up her phone, opened his contact. This time, she didn't pause as long. She typed slowly, not searching for the right words, just writing what was there. I got your letter. She looked at it for a moment, then sent it. No edits, no adjustments. The message appeared in the thread. Simple, final. For a while, nothing happened. Hannah didn't watch the screen. She placed the phone beside her, let the time pass without measuring it. When it finally lit up, she didn't reach immediately. She let it sit there, then picked it up. A reply. I wasn't sure you would. Hannah read it once, then again. There was no urgency in what she felt, no rush to respond, just a quiet awareness that something had shifted. Not resolved, not repaired, but opened, slightly. Enough to allow something through. She didn't call, didn't write another message right away. She just kept the conversation there, unfinished. And for the first time in years, that didn't feel like distance. It felt like space. Something that could be crossed, or not, without pressure, without expectation. And as Hannah sat there, holding the letter she almost never opened, she understood something quietly. Not everything needed to return to what it was before. Some things could begin again differently, in smaller ways, without urgency, without certainty, just with presence. And for the first time in a long time, the silence between them no longer felt closed, just waiting. Not heavily, not painfully, but gently, like something that no longer needed to stay untouched. If this story felt familiar, there are more like it here.